Hi, foodie friends. How is everybody today? One second. Hmm. Let's make sure we are live everywhere. Hold on one second. I'm having an issue this morning with my camera. My actual camera won't connect for some reason because it's always something, right? And especially on a Monday. And I've been fiddling with it for 30 minutes or so, and it still won't work. So let me just make sure. Hmm, do not see us up live. Let's make sure we are. There we are. We're live. Okay, we got 5 people here. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Susan. Okay, so we're good to go. So the moral of the story here is that we will be using our um, camera on the laptop instead of our actual camera. And that means that when I stand back, you're going to see mostly this instead of this. So let me tilt it up a little bit. There we go. You just won't, I'll have to like lift things up. I can't go any further back. I was convinced I was going to be able to solve this issue, so I waited until the very last minute to go to plan B. Should not have done that. Not a good plan. Okie doke. Let's get started. Okay, so today we are going to be making our own tahini, which, if you've never made tahini before, it is sesame paste that is commonly used in many. Hold on, my front door just swung open. The beauty of live TV, right? Tahini is a sesame paste. It's sesame seeds blended down and made into a paste, and it's commonly used in hummus, would be the most thing. A lot of different Mediterranean foods have it. It's a base, it's a very heart healthy base, kind of like avocados, good healthy fats, great for cholesterol. So we're going to make our own tahini. And after we do that, then we're going to make it into hummus. So if you've never joined us live before, or if you haven't joined us live in the last few weeks, you'll know that this is not my real kitchen. This is my dining room, of which I am currently tearing down wallpaper so I can repaint. My kitchen is under construction. It's being renovated. And that is what the plastic back there is. So if you see people coming and going, and if you see or hear things, there could be a saw or a pressure gun or all sorts of things. Or my front door could swing open again because that's just how things happen around here because it's Monday. And that's fine. We'll make it all work, right? We will make it all work. Tahini. Susan, how do you like to use your tahini? Why don't you tell me? So, generally speaking, I would toast these sesame seeds before I got them started. I don't have an oven, and I was going to try and find my butane torch to like do it on a baking sheet, but I couldn't find that either. It's all packed away in the basement right now, and I don't have a kitchen. So you can do them plain without being toasted, but toasting really brings out all of the flavors in sesame seeds, the natural oils and the flavors. It gives it a more sophisticated blend instead of just sesame seed. The other thing you want to do is make sure that your sesame seeds aren't rancid. Most people don't know that sesame seeds can go bad, and it only takes about 6 months to a year. Typically, people don't use them that much. Oh yeah, hummus dip for satay. Yeah, like a peanut dip. I hear what you're going. Actually, we posted some jerk chicken skewers that would be great with a peanut sauce. If you want to go check those out later, Susan. So sesame seeds go bad, and a lot of people don't use them that frequently. So you want to make sure you check them, taste them to make sure they're not rancid before you go to all the trouble of. Hi, Francie, Lucia, so jealous. um, Before you go to all the trouble of making this. Sesame seeds also aren't cheap, which is why hummus is so expensive. If you've ever wondered why hummus is as expensive as it is, sesame seeds are pretty expensive. I got these at Walmart and it was $3.50 for each of these bottles. And that doesn't make a ton of tahini. We're going to make a half a batch today. So I'm going to use about a cup instead of 2 cups, which is usually what I'd make. But we'll just make it go. We'll make it run, right? Okay, So I've got my measuring cups here. I haven't actually measured these out. Again, toast them if you can. Oh, that's about a cup. Okay, well, I only need 1 cup of those then. Good to go. Note to self, I didn't even check it. 2.2 ounces of sesame seeds equals 1 cup. It's still cheaper than buying tahini at the store, I will tell you that. Okay, so now we're gonna blend them. You wanna make sure you have a really good blender, both for the tahini paste and for the hummus. You can also use, I use a really good food processor, I would say. The blade is bigger and it makes it bigger and better to make a smoother paste for nearly anything. You can also use a really good blender if you have a Vitamix or something along those lines, a Blend Tech, something really good. But the blades are smaller because it's a smaller space. So it has more trouble getting that fine paste going. So I'm going to turn this on low, let it go. Right now it's just dry sesame seeds. I'm gonna let them do their thing for a minute. They're gonna start to break down into kind of like a scrub. In fact, you can use sesame seeds as a flour alternative if you're on a diet that doesn't allow for gluten. It's a very robust flavor, I'm sure you can imagine, but so is almond flour and things like that. Turn that off. So the way, and they're still kind of whole, I'm gonna turn it on high. The way that we're going to make this into actual tahini paste is with an oil. So people always ask me, like, why are you using sesame oil? The sesame seeds are making sesame paste. Well, sesame oil is made from fresh sesame seeds. And if we put sesame oil into sesame seeds, we get a very, very strong sesame flavor. If you're down for that, if that's what you want, go for it. But I don't want that to overtake the power of my hummus. So I'm going to use a more neutral oil. I'm going to use an olive oil. You can use grapeseed oil, avocado oil, any of those healthy oils are perfect. You can even use canola or vegetable oil if you want. I'm going to very slowly pour in just a tablespoon to start. I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's starting to taste up along the side. And I'm starting to smell it too. Before I didn't smell it. Now I smell sesame seeds. Mine looks like it needs a little bit more. Let it go. Don't add too much oil to begin with, because you don't want it to be too fast. I'm also getting sesame seeds popping out of the top here, so we put a guard back in. If you've never worked with tahini before, you want it to be smooth. You don't want it to be chunky. So you're going to need to add in enough that it starts to make the paste and isn't a coarse, grainy mixture. It looks like I need to wipe down the sides of mine right now, but I will. No, I can't get it off, of course. This Monday is just not my day. There we go. I need to undo the lid first. Okay. So if you see mine, I don't know which camera to go to now because all my cameras are in different spots. See, it's thick. Can't move it. But it's also not quite the paste that I want yet. So I'm going to scrape down the sides, make sure that it all gets in there so it all can come in. It's almost there. It's close. I don't think I'm going to add any more olive oil, but it's still a tiny bit grainy. We don't want that. Chip this all back on. Now I've made a mess of my table here. Put it back on high. Let it go. This could take a few minutes, so be patient. It doesn't all come together immediately. Oh, you can't understand me? Okay. Sorry, guys, you couldn't understand me with the food processor running. Thanks for letting me know, Sandy. Okay, what I was saying, now the food processor is not running, is that the tahini paste needs a little bit. So you want to have a good, strong food processor. You might have to scrape down the sides, add oil very sparingly. You don't want to add too much oil because it's still a paste. It's not a sauce. It's not a liquid. So add it sparingly. And sooner or later, you'll get this. I need a few more pulses. Hang in me. Hi, Ivana. The instructions are actually listed in the, can you just not, Ivana, can you just not hear me while the food processor is running, or can you not hear me altogether? The instructions for both tahini and spicy hummus are posted in the caption. If you go to read more, They should be posted in the caption and you can print them out there. Let me give this a few more pulses and then we'll be done with the food processor for a few minutes. Okay, I was hoping with the AirPods you guys would be able to hear me while I was making this, but I guess not. Okay, so here we go. So see, now it's more of like a paste. It's a little bit more runny, so it's actually moving around. Before it was super thick and it wasn't moving around. Okay, perfect. I am going to transfer this over to a bowl. We are going to make hummus in the same food processor, and while I would say in some cases it's good to, you could potentially, if you wanted to, go ahead and leave the tahini in the food processor while you did the chickpeas, like just add them in there. I will 100% guarantee you that your chickpeas will not be smooth if you just add them straight into the tahini paste. Doesn't work well that way. Okay, so we've got our tahini paste here. I'm going to set this aside. A little bit left in there is not going to make it or break it. That's perfectly fine. Sandy, you can hear me now? Just want to make sure everybody, or Ivana, one of you, clean up my leftover sesame paste here so I don't end up making a huge mess of myself, because that wouldn't be the first time either. Okay, so the next big piece to hummus is obviously chickpeas. Chickpeas you can get in a can. I get a can because, quite frankly, I don't have time to soak mine overnight. But if you get dry chickpeas, you can soak them overnight or up to 24 hours so they soften. I find that different brands of chickpeas have a different texture to them. Some are a little bit mealier than others, and I like a really smooth chickpea. Whether I'm putting it in a salad, I'm serving it on the side of something, I make a great chickpea salad with truffle oil, or if I'm making hummus, I want a smooth, buttery, velvety texture. I don't like the mealy. Some people like the mealy, and that's fine. No judgment. Okay, thank you, Sandy, for letting me know. I am going to strain these out. So much like, if you guys can hear that, that's the contractors behind me. Much like if you're making carbonara or something else, we want to reserve this liquid. This is going to help us thin out our hummus when we actually get to that point without adding water. So this has a little bit more starch and it's got more body, more texture, and of course it has more flavor. So we're not going to be thinning out flavor when we thin out the actual sauce. So I just used one can here. This is a 15-ounce can of chickpeas. Because I'm going to add the liquid right back in, there's really no need to rinse these. Oh, I need to add my blade. You guys done that before? Put something in the food processor and then realize that you didn't add the blade? Perfect every time. Thank you, Henry. Okay, so we've got our chickpeas in there. I'm going to put this on and I'm going to turn it on again, so I promise I won't talk while it's on. Again, good food processor. You can use a blender too, but remember the size of a blender is like a cylinder. It goes up like this, like a silo, and it has shorter blades. The blades are only about this long. If you've got a food processor, you have a much larger base and you have longer blades, so it's going to blend more evenly. If you do this in a blender, you might need to do it in stages and instead of all together in batches. Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm going to take down the sides. These are blending up wonderfully. It only took a few pulses and they just kind of pulverized, which is exactly what I want in my chickpeas. Okay, I'll give them a few more pulses before we start. Perfect. So now it looks almost like a cookie dough. It's a coarse, thick paste. Let's see if I can do a close-up here. Again, we usually have our overhead camera, but because we're not in our actual kitchen, we do not have access to that right now. Okay, so next we are going to add in chipotle peppers. This is a spicy hummus. Chipotle peppers they come in a can. with adobo sauce. Funny story, once this actually auto-corrected to adobe sauce and I didn't catch it. One of my readers did and I felt really stupid, but you know what, it happens. Okay, so usually there are some onions in here too. I'm doing a half a batch. I like it spicy. I want to have some sweat beading on my forehead. Adobo sauce, if you've never had it, is a very smoky but spicy sauce that will add heat and flavor, but a lot of sophistication to anything. I use it in a lot of Mexican food, a lot of Latin food, and I love it in hummus. I also do a harissa hummus, which is a different type of pepper, also spicy, but I'm gonna, hold on, pulse it in here. Okay, it's broken up. You could also, if you wanted to do another type of spice, use habaneros or jalapenos. I definitely roast them first, give them a nice char before you add them in. Okay, so what else we're going to add? We're going to add some lemon because we like to brighten up these flavors with a little bit of citrus, a little bit of acid. So this is probably about a half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon. You know me and fresh lemons, I don't use the jarred citrus. It doesn't have nearly as much flavor to it. If I'm going to do this, I want a lot of flavor, okay? So I'm going to add my tahini paste. This recipe, I only need about a tablespoon. So I don't need all of the tahini that I made, but I'm going to add a good bit in. So for some hummus recipes, they don't add any other oil. The tahini and the chickpea is the only oil that they add. And instead, they just garnish it. They drizzle the top with oil. I like mine to be a little bit smoother, and that really depends on the chickpeas that I'm using and also the tahini paste, because if you just buy tahini paste, even if you make your own, the textures vary greatly each time. So I usually decide if I'm going to add extra oil as I'm making it. I'm going to go ahead and blend these together, so hold on one moment. I'm going to taste it. It definitely needs a little bit more liquid because it's a little mealy right now. But the taste is spot on. Okay. Woo, little bit of heat, little bit of heat. I love that smoky heat. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Salt is going to brighten every flavor that's in there. And I usually use a white pepper. Today, my white pepper is packed away. I'm going to use some freshly ground black pepper. I'm going to add a little bit more chickpea juice there, and then we'll see where we are and see if we want to add in a little bit more olive oil. Okay. Hummus is supposed to have a little bit of body, a little bit of texture, so you're never going to get it perfectly smooth, or even if you want it perfectly smooth, you shouldn't. We are almost there. We are very close. I'm going to actually add in another chipotle pepper to mine, because now that I'm thinning it out, it's starting to lose its oomph. I'm going to add some olive oil as it's blending. Okay, this is really a season as you go experiment, right? And it is perfect. Okay, tell me in the comments, what's your favorite flavor of hummus? Because really, the base that we've made here is going to be good for any flavor of hummus. One of my other favorite concoctions is everything bagel hummus. If you had an everything bagel, you just make plain hummus and then put everything bagel seasoning on top of it. That one is fabulous. Obviously, garlic is amazing. Do like a whole head of roasted garlic straight into the hummus. Perfect. Artichoke is another one of my favorites. So you guys, tell me what your favorites are. I want to hear. I am going to transfer this to a bowl real quick. Hold on one second. Paper bowls. So if you've been following me on social media, you know that when you don't have a kitchen and you're using your dining room, one of the things that I did not take into account ahead of time was doing dishes because I was all advantageous. I was like, I'm going to use my slow cooker and my air fryer, and I'm going to Instapot stuff. And then the first live that I did on the very first day, I didn't have a kitchen. I made waffles because I'm like, I don't need it. I need a waffle maker. That's all. Ooh, roasted red pepper, sun-dried tomato, both really good ones. Again, use this base recipe, and then instead of adding in those chipotle peppers, add in sun-dried tomatoes, add in roasted red peppers, add in any other flavor you want. As long as you've got a base for hummus, you're all good. Um, ooh, lemon herb. That sounds good too. What kind of herbs, Crystal? What kind of herbs do you like? Um, so I made all those blueberry waffles and I realized I didn't have a way to do dishes other than a bathtub or my powder room or my front yard. And if you were my neighbor, I apologize ahead of time because they saw me out there washing out a, a waffle iron with my hose. I know, totally classy, huh? Okay, here we go, our hummus. Let me get it into the screen there. For our Instagram folks up here, yay, hummus. Let's give it a taste whirl. I forgot to buy pita chips, so I've got carrot sticks. Healthier for me. Perfect. Has a little bit of toothiness, a little bit of body, lots of smoky flavor, good texture, Mediterranean herbs. Nice. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to be eating hummus for lunch today. This is really good. You can spread it on a sandwich too. If you've never used it as a sandwich spread, like instead of mayonnaise, even on paninis or hamburgers, probably do it on a hot dog. I don't eat many hot dogs. Okay, I have no idea what we're making yet next week. We'll fly by the seat of our pants. If you guys have any suggestions or anything you want to see, feel free to message me, email me, savoryexperiments@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to include those. We're also thinking of changing our day to Sundays. I know Mondays is hard for everybody. Monday's easier for me because my kids aren't here. But if we need to go on Sunday to catch a few more people, we might try doing that for a week or two just to see what happens and if we can get some more people. Crystal, thank you for this recipe. I messed up the first time I made some. It's easy to do, but you know what? As long as you've got the basic tenets of making hummus, you're good to go. And then you can modify it however you want to modify it. It actually becomes pretty easy. It's just kind of knowing those tips and tricks, like using the reserve chickpea liquid, making sure you find a chickpea you really like. These are Goya brand. They're a nice, smooth, velvety chickpea. I've used some other ones, especially store brands, that have been really gritty and grainy and mealy, and I don't like that in mine. And finding a good tahini paste, whether you're making your own, go slowly. You can always add more of stuff, but it's really hard to balance it out if you leave other stuff out. So, okay, foodie friends, from my makeshift kitchen, aka my dining room, to yours, we will see you next Monday and email me with any questions. And we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us today. Bye.